Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is Monday, so we have a Motivation Monday video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe. So today's topic is take action, stop complaining. So I hope it doesn't sound harsh, and obviously I'm not trying to attack anyone or sound like I know it all or anything. You guys know that my videos are purely just based on the fact that I know things are difficult. I know that this is a part of life. However, let's not dwell on the fact that it's difficult and it's not easy. Let's rather work on making things better and changing things, because at the end of the day, we are in control. If you don't do the work, no one is going to do it for you. Anyway, this video is basically about the fact that a lot of people have a PhD in complaining and they don't do anything about it. So you'll have someone who's going to complain, but do nothing about the situation, right? And if the situation is bothering you so much, I always say, okay, fine, if you're so bothered, why aren't you doing anything about it? Because 95% of the time, when someone incessantly complains, they're not doing anything. Obviously, there's a difference between, I'm really annoyed about XYZ, and then you keep it moving. Complaining is normal. It's okay to complain. The problem arises when all you do is complain about a situation without changing anything, right? I always say, if something is really, really bothering you, then ask yourself one of two questions. Obviously, question one is, can I change this? And obviously, if your answer is yes, then how? How can I change this? How can I make this better? What can I do differently? What can I do to make sure that this is something I'm not complaining about again? Obviously, if your answer is no, then you need to accept that it is what it is. This is reality. No amount of complaining is going to make things better. In fact, it's just going to make me sad or annoyed or depressed or whatever. But also, in the same breath, in accepting that, okay, this is the situation, also look at it now and be like, what can I do to change the situation? So there are situations where it's like, okay, fine, maybe this is your reality right now. Maybe that's the situation at hand right now. However, if you do X, Y, and Z, then maybe this time next year, that's not going to be your situation. So that's where I'm coming from now, where it's like, okay, fine. If you're now saying to yourself that, no, this is the situation, this is reality, there's nothing that I can do to change about it, then stop complaining firstly, because complaining isn't going to change anything. Complaining is not going to get you anywhere. And then strategize to make sure that you can change the situation in the long run, to make sure that it's not something you're complaining about all the time, okay? And obviously, I know that there are things that can't be changed in life. If it's something that you can't change, then reach a point where you accept that it is what it is. This is the situation. I'm not going to keep complaining every single day, because if that is the reality, then you need to realize that no amount of situation is going to change anything. So stop breaking your own heart. Stop being your own enemy by complaining incessantly all the time. Also realize that with this whole situation of complaining, like, sometimes you can be the type of person who does the same thing again and again and again, or you keep putting up with the same thing again and again and again. So basically, there's a trend. Something keeps happening, and all you're doing is complaining. You're not being strategic. You're not strategizing in order to get yourself out of that situation. You're not trying to plan. You're not trying to come up with a solution. All you're doing is complaining every day. Complaining. Situation happens again. Complain. Stop complaining. Do something for yourself. You guys don't realize just how much power you have over certain situations. Do something differently. You can't complain and say, oh no, this person is not understanding me because X, Y, and Z. Have you tried talking to the person? Have you tried to make them understand? Have you tried to tell them that, okay, because this is the situation, this is what it means, X, Y, and Z? No, you haven't said anything. You're just complaining because that's what you're good at. Everyday complaining. It can't be everyday complaining. Please, not everyday complaining. Okay, another situation would be, I don't know, maybe something keeps happening again and again and again, or a certain situation isn't changing. Don't just sit there and complain. Ask yourself, okay, fine, this is the situation. I'm not happy because of this and this and this. What can I do to get out of the situation? Try to help yourself. The whole point of this video is just to instill the thought process that you need to try and help yourself instead of complaining every day. Strategize, come up with a plan, take action. Do something for yourself. Strategize. That's the only way that you're actually going to find a way to make things different. Even if it's not going to be different as soon as 10 hours from now, it's still going to change. But ultimately, it's up to you. What are you doing about it? Also, what are you doing about your attitude? Because if all you're going to do is complain, then you're just being stuck in a negative place, in a negative rut. And I've said this already, but I'll say it again. Complaining will not change anything. Obviously, there's situations where it's like, let's say someone does something to you, then you complain, then they hear you out and they change. That's different. That's not what I'm talking about. Let's not mix the two. Stop putting in so much energy into complaining and rather put in energy into strategizing, planning, and taking action, because that's the only good thing that you can do for yourself. So many people are stuck in a place where they think complaining is enough, but it's not enough. As you've seen by now, complaining hasn't changed your life or made it better. So stop doing the same thing again and again, expecting change, because obviously if you keep doing the same thing again and again and again, you're going to keep getting the same results. So rather start doing things differently. Also realize that no one is going to be your hero, okay? No one can help you if you don't help yourself. No one can change things if you don't change the situation for yourself. So really and truly, like I've said, be your own hero. What you'd expect someone to come through and do for you is what you need to do for yourself, because no one is going to come do it for you. Show up for yourself. Do what needs to be done. Another thing is you need to get out of the victim mentality. And what I mean is where you blame everyone else and say it's everyone else's fault but your own, Obviously, this doesn't apply in all situations. I know that, I understand that. And that's not what I'm talking about. What I'm trying to say is that there are times when it's like, okay, fine, maybe you're complaining about a certain person, right? And you are unhappy maybe with the way that they treat you or the things that they say to you, things like that. Obviously, you are a victim, but in being a victim, also ask yourself, why do I keep putting up with this? Because that is now where you need to take responsibility and accountability for your actions or inaction. You can't keep putting yourself in a position where you allow someone to do the same thing to you again and again and again and then complain. Why aren't you leaving? You're not in jail. It's not by force for someone to be in your life. Situations like that. What are you doing differently? Right? And obviously there are situations where it's like, even if you've tried to do things differently, or you've complained, or you've tried to take some sort of action, realize that certain actions aren't going to change certain types of situations. Certain actions aren't going to change certain types of situations. That's why you now need to get creative. You need to be so hungry for things to change that you're willing to do anything and everything in your capacity to change your story and to change your situation, until you reach that point of being tired of the situation that you actually, take action, or being tired of yourself and your inaction and the things you are not doing to help yourself. That's where change will come. So yeah, this video is just to sort of encourage people to be people who take action rather than people who only complain. Complain, yeah, it's cool. We all complain. Don't just stop at complaining. Complain and then come up with a plan and do something about it. Don't wake up 20 years from now thinking, oh my gosh, when you finally wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I've been complaining this whole time and that hasn't changed anything. Realize that the power is in your hands. You have capacity to do certain things for yourself. Don't be someone who just sits there and says, no, well, I can't do anything, what? No. If you're going to do that, and that's like the stance you're going to take, don't be surprised when the life you live is a certain way. At the end of the day, there are things we can do differently. There are things that are within our control. Let's do everything in our capacity to do those things differently. You owe it to yourself to at least do something. Don't be someone who's just going to sit around and complain. No one likes a negative Nancy, and you're not doing anything to make your life better. So do it for yourself. Do it for your future. Do it for your happiness. Do it for your mental health. Ultimately, stop complaining every day. Sit down, strategize, come up with a plan, and take action. I understand that it's difficult. I understand that it's going to take a lot of effort or energy or time or whatever resources it's going to require. But ultimately, it's going to be worth it. If it bothers you so much you keep complaining, then isn't it worth putting in the work or the sacrifices required to get out of that situation, whatever it is? Obviously, this is very generalized, and I've acknowledged before, I'll do it again. This obviously does not apply in all situations. Of course, use your discretion. This applies in some cases there's nothing you can do. And when you can't do anything about it, stop complaining all the time. Accept that it is what it is and find a way to live with the situation. So yeah, I hope that this video inspires you to take action and stop complaining, and I hope it wasn't too harsh, because obviously I'm not trying to be harsh. I'm just trying to inspire a different reaction out of people, that's all. Yeah. So yeah guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe.